As stewards of Cisteller in Pontos, Spain, our intention is to weave together a communal land project and healing space that centers regenerative permaculture, creative land-based research, and skill exchange to foster diverse ecosystems, alternative economies, and thriving communities. Our intention is to open up this project so that as many people from as many backgrounds as possible have not only access, but the power to co-create, educate, and weave the future together. Through our design, we truly want this land to serve community efforts and diverse exchange so we can grow futures on and off site that benefit us all, strengthening our collective skills so that these futures may be as resilient as possible. Our design cohort has begun weaving this communal vision. Let me introduce you to our incredible team whose dedication and creativity start to make this project possible.
The base map shows the current conditions of the property through an aerial photo. We can observe how in 1945 the land had more open agriculture areas, whereas today it is mostly covered by forest. This change in the landscape suggests a possible natural regeneration after agricultural abandonment. The ancestral name of the place is Cal Cisteller, which means House of the Basket Weavers. Interestingly, before we started to steward the land, the previous owner had renamed it Cal Clown and run an immersive clown school here over 15 years. The property is located in Empordà, Catalonia, Spain, just 1 hour from Barcelona, 15 minutes from Figueres, and 1 hour from the Pyrenees. This privileged location is key for promoting cultural exchange and making it easy for people to visit and connect with the project. Climate conditions. This site is located in a hot summer Mediterranean climate, characterized by dry summer and mild, wetter winters. It falls under hardiness zone 9B, with minimum winter temperatures ranging from minus 3.9 to minus 1.1 degrees Celsius. We enjoy up to 15 hours of daylight in summer, making it ideal for plant growth, outdoor life, and the use of solar energy. Rainfall is mainly concentrated in autumn and early spring. However, recent years have seen significant drought, emphasizing the importance of water capture, retention, and through resilient design in a sustainable planning. In terms of the wind, the dominant direction is from the southwest, called Garbi. But the area is also known for the Tramontana, a strong, dry, and cold wind that comes from the north, which must be considered when designing windbreaks, shelter belts, or orientating structures. Overall, the area has high solar exposure, moderate but irregular precipitation, and significant seasonal variation. The Cal Cisteller property is part of the natural watershed that feeds the Fluvia River. It includes Puigbalcó Hill, seen from above the property, from which water flows downhill, either seeping into the ground or running off the surface, contributing to the river's flow. Although the area does not receive heavy rainfall, the land still plays an important role in channeling water toward the Fluvia River, which eventually flows into the Mediterranean Sea at La Scala.
The site analysis has been an ongoing process that started over 5 months ago when we were able to access the site. When we began studying Cal Cisteller, we were aware that observation plays a key part of any permaculture design process. It took us a while to get to know the 8 hectares of land, and it's still an ongoing process given the nature of seasons and how everything changes within them. Nevertheless, we identified some key areas, vegetation, and conditions that we could share with our group to provide context to them in this design process. Our zone analysis evolved while we were gaining knowledge of the site. Currently, we think of Zone 0 as the main house and Zone 1 as the area closest to the house with our kitchen garden, our compost station, and rainwater management area. Zone 2 has the main access road, the community space, and some key infrastructure, while Zone 3 contains the agricultural fields for our market garden, some of the forest and the walking paths within it, and some earthworks. Zone 4 is a forest that is difficult to access, but where we can still forage seasonally, and Zone 5 is a forest and ravines that are going to be left untouched. As I mentioned, the list of vegetation that we can encounter in the site grew exponentially as our knowledge of the site and plants grew too. We're still learning, but so far we identify key species like the cork oaks, Aleppo pines, and black pines that cover the forest the abundant rosemary, thyme, and yellow weaver brooms in the shrub layers. In Zone 1, we find our fruit trees like the pomegranate, the fig, the olive tree, the loquat, a very young wild cherry tree, and the 200-year-old cork oak tree that is a central piece of the site. Through the site, we can currently find an old farmhouse that needs renovation, a building that hosts the cistern and the pumps and needs urgent replacement, a 50-meter filtration well, a wooden platform where a giant circus tent once stood for 15 years, a well-maintained driveway, and not so well-maintained forest paths. We track these paths using GPS to be able to accurately put them on the map. The site also has 4 degraded agricultural terraces covering 1.4 hectares that need soil regeneration. In terms of water, the existing infrastructure includes 2 1,000-liter tanks for rain catchment and 1 5,000-liter tank that holds water from the well before it's pumped to the house. This has been a beautiful initiation to a lifelong process of observing and relating intimately with this land.
Hi, I'm Tania, and I will be introducing the master plan. Our design responds to a clear vision to create a connected, resilient, and inclusive landscape that enhances both ecological value and community life. Our approach is rooted in deep understanding of the site, honoring its existing character while unlocking its full potential. We began by identifying some key challenges: ecological degradation, acidic, poor soil, depressed rural context, recurrent droughts, and wildfires. So we decided to create some solutions out of these challenges. So we decided to replace the invasive pine forest with native species, adding pastures, regenerate the soil, create composting strategies to enrich and heal the land, creating spaces for community connection like markets, community gardens, gathering spaces. And we decided it was really important to implement a fire resilient system with a system of water storage, ponds, and swales. So all of these strategies come together in the master plan. So the layout creates a vibrant social heart at the center, activated by seasonal events and community life, making the site welcoming year-round. The northern and southern zones focus on an immersive ecological experience and foraging, inviting people to engage with the landscape in a more meaningful way. So let's break it down. The site is organized into distinct zones. In the north, it's the main access, and this leads to the upper fields. It's an area designated for nut and olive trees. There's also small communal spaces. We will do all the native regeneration forests, and we will have also some foraging areas to the slope. At the center is the main house, the heart of the project. Surrounding it, there are the vegetable gardens, the educational plant guilds, the market, the communal areas. We will have also all the ponds to support both water storage and fire resilience. In the southern part, there is the odd community housing, and all the zones are connected through soft pathways that follow the natural topography. They will be also shaped by the soils that retain water during drought and also nourish the soil through time. So here is the situation now and the big picture. So we decided to implement this project in 3 different phases. Phase 1, it's now, it's planning and addressing immediate needs and infrastructure. Phase 2, it's 5 years from now, it's restoring the land, it's planting and nurturing and connecting the community. Phase 3 is the phase of healing and deeper integration, creating a new way of living in harmony with the land. This slow and intentional phasing allows the landscape and the community to grow together, ensuring long-term resilience.
Pontos is prone to wildfires, especially in summer. Due to climate development, the tendency of little precipitation and rising temperatures change toward extremes. The weather history documents this change for almost 50 years. This makes removing the fuel load a crucial and prioritized matter and offers a great opportunity for first communal projects. During the summer months, the wind usually comes from the south or southeast. The project is split into 3 phases that always start in the south and southeast of the house, continue on the north and northwest, and gradually move outwards. Within a 50-meter radius of the house, the removal of trees and brush will be especially radical to enhance safety. The cut-down trees are supposed to be used for swell building within the forested area. While there are many more options to enhance fire resilience that can be found in the handout, rainwater harvesting is a very important one that we're going to look into now. The data shows that we have to be aware of potential heavy rain events, especially in fall, and if we do so, can use those as a resource to supply for the whole year. Here's a rough overview of the planned swells, ditches, spillovers, and ponds all over the property. They all intend to move the water towards the ridge. The fire pond is positioned above the main house, thus making us independent from electricity in case of an emergency. It can also be used as a swimming pond. The pond close to the communal garden, on the other hand, is intended to be used as an additional water resource for the garden if needed. One last pond is planned on the bottom of the property, and its use is still to be decided. For the water harvesting around the house, we used the most recent data we could find, since we want the extremes of the past and the coming years to show in the calculations. We planned for a storage capacity of 5,000 liters that can be extended if needed. Since the water needs in the household will be supplied from a well, all stored water will be available for the garden. 3,000 liters are stored on the north side of the house and 2,000 on the east side. Around the gills will be rings filled with wood chips that can spread and store the water overflow from the tanks. A bio-water filter will be installed on the west side of the house and flow into the wood chip network. The plants will eventually also be watered by the spillover from the pond above. In case of a heavy rain event, this spillover will have 2 more spillovers included to protect the house from flooding.
The soil on our site is mostly red clay with an acidic structure. It holds moisture during wet periods, but in the summer it dries out and cracks. The presence of pine and cork oak trees, which prepare acidic conditions, confirms this. The high clay content and acidity limit the soil's fertility, structure, and drainage. We've also observed visible erosion, especially near terraces edges, the main road, and power lines. To restore soil health, our main goal is to increase organic matter using practical, low-cost methods. We plan to apply different composting systems with materials from the land and nearby sources. They include worm bins, the green box system, Johnson's bioreactors, horse manure, and composting. Kitchen waste is already being used in the worm bins and green box. Horse manure from neighbor will be added as well. We choose the Johnson's method for its low maintenance and strong results. It supports fungal dominant life, increases moisture retention, and works especially well for perennials. To expand this system, we'll need a shredder, composting tools, and more plant material. We'll also use mulching to prevent erosion and protect the soil. In the kitchen garden, we'll apply sheet mulching using dead mulch like shredded branches and compost, and living mulch such as wild plants and cover crops like clover and vetch. Lastly, we'll produce biochar from natural residues found around the site. With a simple biochar stove, we can improve soil texture, increase microbial life, and support long-term fertility. In short, our aim is to bring the soil back to life using local, nature-based methods to create a resilient, fertile, and sustainable growing space.
For my part of the project, I chose to work with existing trees surrounding the house and support them by creating guilds to function as, firstly, a Zone 1 garden for quick access to produce, and more importantly, as an educational tool for incoming community to better understand the meaning of intentional living and community resilience as a key adaptation strategy to the changing climate. New visitors will be introduced to the principles of community coexistence through a living metaphor of a guild. Through this map of symbiotic species, the following guilds can be adapted based on the clients' and community's needs and preferences through the following years. These guilds are designed to be used not only in Zone 1 gardens, but adaptable to the community garden beds that will be built in the future. Each guild has plant species that serve a different function, showing a community's capacity to host and foster diversity based on individual strengths and needs of each incoming member and the community as large. The guilds will also serve as an example of how to create larger food forests in the future, making it an accessible educational example for when the site expands to host more people for larger group projects, such as building the food forests and perennial orchards designed by Davide. Visual tools and on-the-ground examples make leadership of intentional community easier for the hosts and leaders, and are key to onboarding new members. For example, the existing olive tree will be supported by its guild to create a more permeable soil through plants with rhizomes such as alfalfa to meet the watering needs of the olive. In turn, the olive provides shade to protect other plants from the harsh summer sun and mulches and composts the ground with its leaves, flowers, and seeds, nesting birds to eat predatory pests. These guilds will act as a sort of language of biomimicry, a way to translate natural systems into community practice. Another prepared project for the community is a hugelkultur kitchen garden bed. Designed to provide the most used produce, needing minimal maintenance and watering, these guides created will streamline the process of group projects, enabling community leaders and our clients to participate in the building itself rather than managing task division and project explanation. The self-composting bed will hold in moisture and support the ancient cork oak, the fire-resistant centerpiece of Cisteller.
The property has 2 extended open fields that can reach the size of 100 meters in length and 60 in width, offering plenty of space that can be used for cultivation. On them, the client wants to develop guilds with both perennial and annual or seasonal species, creating community orchards that can function in guilds with trees such as almonds, olive, and pistachio. In order for the client to know how to build these guilds, I researched and selected a variety of options of plant species that are suitable for the climate of the region, which is hot summer Mediterranean, according to Köppen climates and situated in the plant hardiness zone 9B. By doing so, I developed a season-by-season database that allows the client to visualize a wide variety of plants and options with the respective roles that they have in the guild. The purpose of this database is to give the client a clear overview of the options that every plant has to offer to the guild, and what layer of the plant guild each one belongs to, allowing them to choose what players to include, according to other variables and sectors that they observe on their land, and the necessities that they want to satisfy. Since the client wants to cultivate seasonal plants as well, I created a database table for each season. The client wants to establish a cultivation of either almond, olive, or pistachio trees. Between the trees, they want to add a combination of perennial and seasonal plants that can create a guild capable of producing food throughout the year. For this reason, I provided an example of possible guilds built around either tree that takes species from the previous databases. Since these trees will see different stages of development, I provided examples of guilds that could exist in early, intermediate, and mature phases of succession. In the early stage of succession, I put nitrogen-fixing perennials and plenty of dynamic accumulators to enhance the soil, dispersed pest repellents, and beneficial insect attractors, and overall species that survive in the sun or in dappled shade. In an intermediate stage, with a tree that has started to develop and put down deep roots, I added more perennials that require nutrients like moringa, and plants that thrive in dappled or in shade conditions. Lastly, in the mature stage, the tree has developed a canopy that creates a shaded microclimate, underneath which the client can plant more shade-loving perennials and seasonal plants.
We intend to make this project a reality, and to do so, we have organized our funding and economic strategies into 4 parts. The first, initial capital investment, are fixed private resources we have to invest in the project. These starting resources will ensure the design and infrastructure of the project and give us a base to build our future economic sustainability upon. The second, government and institutional grants, is focused on promoting research and project initiatives, community programming, and residency grants. The third, inter-European collaboration, is an extension to the previous focus, but speaks to the collaborative power, knowledge, and resilience regenerative networks create. We intend to apply for funding within these webs and have already begun to weave research inquiries with our sibling organization, ArtMill, run by Gabriel Banesh Kalna, one of our team members in this design project. The final, circular and trade-based economies, focuses on the many regenerative and non-monetary exchanges we intend to cultivate throughout the project. These systems become possible through the intricate patterns of the foundations laid before, promoting community care, skill share, and self-sustainability. People care is one of the main tenets of permaculture, and we believe that justice and healing are at the center of this tenet. We imagine that those involved might have their own unique understanding of what healing, justice, and regeneration look like, and offer this knowledge to the community, so that we may integrate these gifts and broaden our common knowledge. Learning from Indigenous cultures, respecting Mother Earth, and honoring future generations will ensure that this project continues beyond our individual aspirations. We understand that this work can only happen through the sustained efforts of many people, and we intend to do all that we can to make this reality. We believe that in creating a successful, self-sustained permaculture project, we might inspire and affect many more, and ultimately help to circulate the knowledge that permaculture and regenerative systems are a positive way of moving forward.